Hello and welcome to the Modern Romantic Podcast, where we celebrate and inspire romanticism in today's age by featuring passionate and creative people. Hello, until a court of legal holding tells me otherwise, I'm still going to be Trey. Hi, and I'm joined by my co-host Emily.
Yeah. And today I'm singing a tune in my head that I can't get out of my head.
What's
But
that
it's
tune?
it's shallow and it's because of our guest.
Oh yeah. Would you like to do a nice introduction for our guest here?
I really really would. Today I'm so excited. Today we're chatting with one of my favorite creators on TikTok, Instagram, and basically all social media. She's a phenomenal Canadian singer, songwriter, performer, and voice coach. She's literally the one person on the planet that made me go, maybe I could sing. Like, I just need some help, some coaching. I just need to do the work. So, and if you know me at all, that's kind of huge. So, anyway, please welcome to the show, Jenn Beaupre.
Emily, oh,
Yeah.
thank you. And thanks for saying that. It's
It's
singing
true.
is so joyful, and it's so cool to hear people leaning into their joy because I said they could. So thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being here, too. It's absolutely true. Trey and I used to work together a few million years ago, and we used to sing in the store sometimes. We worked in a store, and I would always kind of downplay it because I don't think I can sing right. And Trey is, opera trained. So we would, go back and forth with little ditties that we'd make up and things as we'd work. And it was a lot of fun. And we've had that joy that you're talking about. But he would always be like, no, you can sing. And I'd be like, oh, no, but I can't. And I started watching your videos. I happened to cross them by accident on TikTok one day. And I thought, maybe it is possible. Maybe I could. Well, I won't be demonstrating anything here today, but thank you.
Oh no, that's so great. It's so neat as a creator to bear witness to your content actually reaching people that are inspired by it and excited by it. Because in all honesty, it is, I try hard. I, I don't just throw stuff up. I'm really thoughtful, and I think about when it does reach people, how they might interpret it and how they might move through it, because I'm not in the room with them to guide them. So whatever I say in 30 to 60 seconds has to be enough to make someone feel good, safe, joyful, confident. So it's neat to hear that happens sometimes. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
As when Emily brought you up, like to be on our show, we started looking on your website and we found a couple articles. One of the things that, one, let me comment that I love that you said, here is my Phil song fee on your website. And I love that you talk about you want to inspire people to be emulators and to be sing with a lot of emotion. It's not a lot of focus. There is focus on technique in your work, but it's from a place of communicating the idea behind a song, and that's what really drew me to it.
You know what, Trey? I'm gonna kind of debunk what you just said, and then we'll see if we're still friends afterwards. My philosophy is that we want to move people with our art. We do, whether we're a professional singer or whether we're in our living room. We want, when people to hear us, we want them to feel things. And because I've been coaching for many years, what I've witnessed over the years is that I used to get into little fights with people when I would try and correct them or critique them or kind of guide them in another direction. And I would get a response like this: no, I do it like that because that's how I feel it. I'm so connected with this song and I feel it like this. And I'd be like, well, it sounds bad is the thing. So I, by all means, this topic, I'm glad you brought this up because this is a passionate topic of the moment for me.
Okay.
I love that singers want to be connected to what they're singing. That's why we songwrite. That's why we sing. It's therapeutic for ourselves, for our listener, etc. But when you perform particularly, I believe that you're there for the audience. You're there to make sure they have an experience and feel the emotions that were baked into that song. So those moments on stage aren't really for you. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't enjoy it. But your priority is making them feel the emotion. So I believe that your job is to be motivated, perhaps by emotion, by the lyrics, by what you think the song is about or whatever. But you have to translate that into physical things, into technique. If you want it to be sad, you're going to do "Don't wanna feel another touch. The sound the little kids make when they're crying. Sometimes grown-ups do it too." But if I just feel sad, "Don't wanna feel another touch. I feel really sad." But you don't know that because I'm not doing sad. Mm-hmm. So I want singers to connect, but you're only really allowed to connect once you make the physical shit happen. Then you can bring yourself back in. That's how I feel about it. If a singer is prioritizing the audience. If you're singing for therapy, yes, feel everything, do everything, make yourself cry, let anything happen. But if you're performing, be there for your audience.
I love that answer. And yes, we are still friends.
Okay.
I think that there are so many people who get wrapped up inside of their own head when they're performing, me, that they lose out on what the intention of their performance is. And so I love that you call out that your performance is not for you, it is for the audience. So that is a very wonderful perspective to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I talk about these things, there's always someone who wants to fight about it in the comment section. Singing is so good for you and you should never, dissociate yourself. I didn't say that. I didn't say dissociate yourself. I said bring your emotions to life in a way tangibly for people. People can't read how you're feeling just because you feel it. They respond to the auditory things you're doing. So I agree. And I mean, I heard you sing in the green room, and you do have a beautiful voice because you were making great decisions, great technical decisions. So I felt you feeling it. Maybe you were, maybe you weren't. That's not for me to know or you to know. Your job is to make sure I felt stuff. And I believed you. I believed you felt stuff. You made me feel stuff. You did your job.
Number one, thank you. And I'm going to start blushing 3 shades of pink now, so thank you.
Yeah.
Coming from like a musical background and those sorts of things, there's so much of focus on technique that in the later part of the years, I've started talking to singers who have taken a step back from singing or have not exactly found the right teacher for them. And the one thing they said that has been the most healing for them, and I will attest to that, is singing for themselves and then going back into performances, whether it be opera, musical theater, that sort of thing, finding the joy of singing for themselves and then applying that love back into what they do.
Yeah, that's the challenge actually of making content and serving the public at large. Is I'm talking to professionals. I'm talking to people who studied singing but then chose another career. I'm talking to people who are shower singers and car singers. I'm talking to everybody. Yeah. So I think that singing can play so many different roles in our lives, regardless of which category you might fall under of the few that I described. But I think that, I get it. That's one of the most common questions in my inbox. Can anybody sing? And I always hesitate to provide any answer because I want to ask back, why? Why do you ask? What? Because can anybody sing? Yes. Should anybody sing? Yes. Can anybody sing like Whitney Houston with, if I train hard enough, can I sound like Adele? No. But I will add an addendum to that, not because you can't be that good, but because Adele is Adele and Whitney is Whitney and you are you. And also there are people, I think a lot of vocal coaches don't want to say this. They don't actually, because it's like we treat it like a dirty secret or we ignore it. Are there singers born with natural ability? Simply yes. Like, yes. Are there basketball players who are born super tall? Yes. Are there basketball players who just get it and move well? Yes. So I can't tell you that you can train your way into Whitney Houston. She is a natural artist and vocalist. Now that doesn't mean, and here's the bottom line, that if that response turns you away from singing, it's so sad. Like, it's so sad. There are so many things in life that I will not be good at. Yoga is my great example that I use. I'm not great at yoga, but whatever that means. Not that yoga is a contest. But I'm not a pretzel. I'm tippy. I fall a lot. But I leaned into it. I became a teacher. I learned a lot about it, and I'm happy to stand in front of 30 sweaty people and explain, you know, what the purpose of a pose is while I tip over in front of them. And I think yoga is important to me for this exact reason. I will never be the best at it, but it brings me joy. It brings me health. It makes me breathe. It makes me sweat. It makes me feel things. It clears my brain. And that is what singing can do for you if you get out of needing to be Whitney in the end. You might be. I don't know. Anything's possible, but I want you to do it because it's fun, because it feels good, because you're curious about it in the first place. Now, if you're a professional, this is a different discussion, but I think that what we're talking about right now applies to more people. Just people who are like, oh, but what if I'm not good? What if you're not? So what? So what?
Yeah, be you.
Yeah, be you. And it's like, it's fun to learn. Mm-hmm. It's fun to learn something from the ground up. It's fun to learn something that you're excited to know more about for the sheer joy of it's fun. So I want to give people permission and empower them to do it because they want to. There doesn't need to be an end goal. You don't need to pay your bills with singing. This isn't Sister Act. So just enjoy your voice. Did you get that reference, either of you?
Yes. I did.
Okay.
So, Emily, I think I've mentioned this to you a couple of times, but there were times in the store that Emily would just be like humming a tune, and I would be like, you actually have a really nice voice. And she'd be like, no, I don't. What are you talking about?
No doubt.
What are you talking about?
I won't put her on the spot, but I have absolutely no doubt in that people also think that good singing means riffs and runs and what I call the loud and long. Like, you know, we think about an artist like, to be extreme, think about an artist like Bob Dylan.
Okay.
He is an extremely well-loved, well-respected, and poetic artist. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does this man have a prolifically beautiful riffing voice?
No,
but we love him because he's a great artist. You don't have to be an excellent singer to be an excellent artist. And on top of that, you don't even have to be an excellent singer to be an enjoyable, entertaining, interesting, artistic singer. So yeah, it's fun to learn riffs and runs and belting and all blah, 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 blah. But I personally have artists that I love that I wouldn't say are the best singer, but they are the best artist. They appeal to me for a mazillion other reasons. So I can't say enough that there is literally no reason to not use your voice. There's just no reason if it interests you. Okay. Now, please let me read some comments because they are flattering.
Yes, they are.
Your renditions of their songs are amazing, Whitney and Adele. I say thank you to Sandra Sawyer. Someone says, Sister Act, ha ha ha. Girl, you see me, you hear me. We all want to be Lauryn Hill. Singing does not pay the bills. Yes, it does. It can.
Kaz said she said there's a place and time. If you're singing for people, it's a job. Be professional, but at home, feel that music.
Yeah, lean in. Just enjoy. Absolutely, there's a time and place.
She also asked, what's your therapy song to belt out? Hers is Roxy from Chicago.
Oh, that's fun. This is going to be so not what people want to hear, but I don't sing for joy as much as I should anymore. I sing so many hours of the day, and I talk about singing so many hours of the day. So when this is so anticlimactic. I tend to turn to podcasts and stuff so that I can take a break from music. If I was to sit down at the piano for therapy reasons, I would find the saddest song I currently could think of, and I would sad it up. Sad songs. Yeah, I just love sad songs. But, there was this... Do you guys remember Sarah McLachlan?
Yes.
Yeah. Do we remember her?
Well, I'm sorry. I don't
Yes.
know. Sometimes with Canadian artists, of course she penetrated. Angel was huge in Building a Mystery. Yes. I remember seeing her do an interview on Rosie O'Donnell, and she had a song called Adia on her big, big, big record, which I was obsessed with.
Same.
Adia, do believe I failed you. I loved it. I loved the whole record. And Rosie O'Donnell said, wow, Adia, such an interesting name, such a great song. Can you tell us, like, who is Adia? Who is this? And I was like rapt. Ooh, who is Adia? I love this song. And she said something like, I just thought it was like a pretty 3-syllable name. And, we were just writing this, like, basically, it just was nothing. And I was like, oh no. So sometimes it's crappy to hear. It's crappy to hear people that you enjoy listening to or look up to be like, oh, I don't sing for joy. I just listen to political podcasts. I don't do this for fun anymore. So I don't want to sound like I don't love singing. I really, really, really do. I just physically run out.
And you need balance.
Yeah.
And you need that mental space to kind of walk away from singing for a little bit.
Yes.
So in support of that, I would like to talk about soup with you for a little bit, because I hear that you like soup.
Where did you find that? That is the oldest bio of life, but I'm so glad it's somewhere.
I found that earlier. It's on your YouTube.
Oh, that's so good. I love soup.
Okay. What is your favorite go-to soup?
Oh my God. My sister makes this soup with, do you know the chickens you get in the grocery store, which are probably pumped full of hormones, but are so delicious and you just want to like lick the skin off?
Yeah.
Okay. So she gets one of those chickens and she boils it to make fresh chicken broth. And then it's this rosemary cream business. And it tastes like love and home. And it's the best. It's the best soup.
That sounds amazing.
It is.
Okay.
I'm really lucky. She cooks a lot of good things while I scream in the basement.
That's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Are you a Calgary Flames fan?
I have sung the anthems at a Flames game, and I know that there's a puck involved.
Sports ball.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I mean,
you know what? Actually, when I sang the anthems, after I sang, they said, oh, we have these seats for you. And I was like, okay, thank you. And then I was on the Jumbotron reading Psychology Today.
Oh, I mean, great publication. So you're like bettering yourself.
Well,
but
you know what? I think hockey, like the entertainment industry, it's great. It's great. We love to see people push their body, push their mind, push their voice, push their whatever to the absolute limit of what human beings can do. So I appreciate sports from that perspective. To be honest, I think part of it is that I have really, really bad eyesight. I was born legally blind in one eye, and I'm at the magic age where, I didn't know this, your eyes actually deteriorate back to, when we're young, our muscles can kind of like help out a little bit. And my muscles, I guess, are old now. So I see not a lot. So I didn't like gym. I didn't like catching balls. I don't like watching anything that's like hard. And also just like, sports. I don't know.
It's same.
But I get it. I respect it. I respect it.
We have a Josh, our moderator, is a Minnesota Wild hockey fan, so I wanted to make sure we got that question in for him.
Go Wilders. Wildies? The wildest. The wild ones?
I don't know what the fans are called, but it's the Wild, yeah.
Okay, well, yes.
All of the above.
Yes.
One thing I do want to ask is, we know that you were on Canadian Idol, but that's not where you started to get noticed, and that's not where you started to sing. Can you tell us a little bit about how you started singing? What got you into the career that you're in?
Yeah, every time I tell this, it's not an interesting story, but every time I tell it, I think like, oh, this makes me sound like such a sad sack. I really need to make a different story up so that this doesn't sound so sappy, but I haven't. So here it is, the truth, I guess. When I was young, I was very bullied, and like stuffed in lockers, spit on, like gross, like. And my mom, who is such a wonderful mom and woman, and allowed me to be a child for way longer than kids are allowed to be kids today anyway, and probably back then too, which is never appealing. Youthful, childlike innocence. We don't seem to embrace that. If I do say so myself. And my mom heard me singing around. She put me in dance, which is also where I got mercilessly bullied too. But she put me in dance and she heard me singing. And she, by the time I was 13, 14, she said, I think, do you want to take singing lessons? And I was at the stage of, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not cool enough. I'm not whatever enough. And she kind of did that mom thing where she kind of made me do it a little bit. I never was angry at her, but I was nervous and scared and like, I don't know. And I grew up in a small town, Drumheller it's called. And back in the 90s, I'm a little bit old. Back in the 90s, there were not a lot of pop vocal coaches. If you wanted to take singing lessons or study it in school, university, it was going to be classical or theatrical. Pop kind of only in recent years, we've kind of accepted it as something that you train and you work towards. So my mom took me to the best classical coach in town and she had me audition. The coach said, look, I'm full. And my mom said, nope, you're going to listen because moms. And the lady listened to me and accepted me as a student. And I think that was probably quite affirming at that age and stage. Being told she's full, but she'll take me anyway.
Yeah.
And I think I did a year of lessons with her, which were fun, but if I was being melodramatic, I would say kind of traumatic because I was obsessed with Mariah Carey and Ariel from The Little Mermaid. And she had me doing Gretchen am Spinnrad. Meine Ruhe ist hin, meine Herz ist schwer. She had me digging into German and Italian and which is great and interesting. And I never didn't like it, but I also knew that I loved Mariah Carey and I loved doing all these quick notes in a row that I didn't know what they were called. And I loved these long, belty notes that I was told, don't do that, you're going to hurt your voice. And I was yelled at for scooping, which I didn't understand really what the problem was. It sounded better with a little step stool underneath it anyway. And I learned to follow the classical rules, but within a fairly short order, also the teacher, who beautiful singer in her own right, an opera singer, she would get up to go get coffee and I would immediately sit down at the piano, which I didn't know how to play, but I would sit down and I would, tinker at the keys. And in those, 60 seconds, I would like try and write a song or like see what's going on. And it just got to the point where I realized, I don't know if I want to sing Redente la Calma. I want to like talk my diary into the songs and I want to put my fingers on a piano. And growing up in a small town and being bullied, nobody wanted to play with me. So learning an instrument, and I really wanted to be self-reliant as the years went on. So we didn't have Googs. We didn't have the Googs back then. So I kind of had to figure out how chords worked. I had always been interested in music and always paid attention in music class, but I did teach myself piano and I eventually did flunk out of classical lessons. So I quit, which was bittersweet because in a small town, that was my access to music.
Oh.
But I wanted to songwrite and I wanted to use my voice in a different way, in a bolder way, which is why, side note, one of my passions is helping classical singers find their way in pop, because it is such a different way to vocalize everything from vibrato to, especially, I guess I'll call it belting. I've really come to hate the terms belting, mixing, and head, because they mean different things to different people. But anyways, I digress from my digression. That is how I found music. And once I started songwriting, my parents really supported me, and they helped me. I booked little coffee shops, and the more I sang in front of people and the more people were encouraging, I just really loved it. And I loved the realization that I could say hard things into a microphone, and then other people could feel hard things and talk about hard things. So I fell really in love with the whole thing around that age.
The connection there to experience that at that age is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really lucky that my parents let that happen. I'm really lucky that vocal coach, played her role in my journey. And I'm really lucky that I'm motivated and excited by sharing art with people.
Yeah.
In learning to being fascinated, you mentioned Mariah Carey. In the years since you've been posting and been singing, you have tackled some of the most notoriously difficult singers, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, and the like. Are there any artists that you find more challenging than others? Or how do you approach those challenging singers?
Yeah, because you sound like you nail all of them.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of fun. I say this to people quite regularly. Singing is 51% listening and 49% making noise. So I find it a very fun and cerebral and artistic experience to try and understand what a singer is doing, from the shape of their mouth to the choices they're making. When I was a kid, I remember literally thinking like, oh, is she breathing on like an O shape or like a ah shape? Like, obsession. I think you need to be obsessed to get really good at your thing, whatever that is. So I love tackling the songs that blow people away, because A, I frankly want to blow people away too. And B, it's fun for me to see what I can figure out. And I think it's fun for people to watch someone try on these hats. These songs are like hats that fit people differently. So yeah, sure. I'm fascinated by those very well written, very well sung songs, just to see what's possible, and in doing so, show people how they can try that hat on too.
Sorry,
right, Emily.
Oh, sorry.
We always do that. No, you go first.
Oh, I was just back to Trey's. The first part of Trey's question was, are any of them?
Oh, sorry, I failed to answer it.
No, that's all right. You're fine.
Jessie J.
Oh,
is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Jessie J. Yeah, I think she's probably the most tricky. Although, interestingly, I'd say she's the most common artist people compare me to in the comment sections.
I could see that.
Thanks. But she does a lot of very high, very, very, very agile work. So and I talk about this a lot in a project I have. Mariah Carey uses whistle tone. I don't, and I always sound like I'm defending myself when I say this, but I'm not terribly interested in making that sound. I think that it can be a bit of a parlor trick. If you're in the grocery store and there's a song playing that the singer's whistling and whistling and whistling, it can be like aggravating to listen to. Now, does that mean that it's not prolific? No, it is. It's a really cool skill, especially to use it as accurately and artistically as a singer like Mariah Carey does. I think the reason I get a beef with stuff like that is because I get beginner singers in my inbox saying, I want to learn how to whistle. And I'm like, well, you need to learn how to sing in tune first, or like let's do the basics before we worry about pulling out these things. So I think that I've kind of got a chip on my shoulder around the more prolific parlor tricky pieces of singing. And people also assume that you're a good singer, so you must do this thing. I don't really like that thing, so I don't do that thing. I'm not a specialist in that thing. I do support if the singer has a natural inclination. That's what I should say. If you have a natural inclination to do that, you will, and you'll develop it, and you'll find what you need to find. I've had singers who have whistle tone, and I'm happy to, use my ear and see what we can do. But I don't use whistle, so if you ask me to cover Mariah Carey whistling, I won't.
For those of us in the audience that maybe don't know exactly how whistle tone would be defined, can you explain what that? I mean, we know Mariah Carey sings like 8 octaves or something, but like, is whistle tone sounds like the high end of that?
Yeah. It's so if you think about whistling with your lips, think of it as like whistling with your vocal cords, maybe.
Okay,
maybe that's
like
how you
squeezing it real tight to be able
to.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a sound that appeals. It's kind of like icing, kind of like vibrato. If you do too much of anything, it's kind of like, that's really sweet. It's a lot of sweetness. What else you got? Give me some cake.
Right.
So great decoration if it appeals to you and comes naturally to you. I think it's great. So I'm not crapping on whistle tone or anybody who uses it or loves the sound of it. Like I say, I just have a chip on my shoulder because there's so many singers who I have bigger fish to fry, and I want to help them have foundation, and I want to help them feel stable and use their ear, and they're like, I want to whistle. Why? So I think I have a chip because of that.
Kind of along those same lines, there's something that I notice, and this is just kind of an observation, and me not being as much of a pop singer, I noticed that like when you start getting into the head voice range, it just becomes like almost like a stylistic choice to make it like very breathy and airy. And I'm kind of wondering your take on head voice in being
That's
used
such
in
a good
pop.
observation. That's such a good, what you just said is so important, and I want people to hear it loud and clear. If you want to use a lighter tone in pop music, the cooler version, the more modern, what we've decided, right? It's all, as a society, we decide what's cool and what isn't, or what applies to pop music and what doesn't. But that floaty, more Billie Eilish-y, airy sound is where you want to go if you want to be light. Doesn't mean you can't use head voice. Doesn't mean it's not cool. Don't come at me in the comments. God bless you all. But it is. I know I have a singer who's come from choir or who's come from classical singing. Again, if I give to you, don't want to feel another touch. Don't want to feel another touch. We've got a different shape. We've got a different placement. And we've got that more tonal sounding head voice that makes it feel classical. So yes to what you've observed. Yes, that is excellent. And a classical singer can be taught to make that more sigh sound, and a pop singer can absolutely use their head voice, but it's just gear shifting and really using your ear to decide what you want something to sound or feel like. Great observation though.
Thank you.
That makes me think of that time we went and sang karaoke, Trey, in Rock Hill. And
oh God, which time?
Yeah, there were a few times, and I would try to I guess I'm that person. I would encourage everyone around me to go sign up to sing because I wanted to hear them sing. I myself did not ever sign up. Yeah, I'm horrible. But I was really excited about everybody else getting up. I would go to karaoke just to listen and support my friends and have fun because that was a good time to me. It still is.
Whoa. Are you honestly telling me
oh no
that you didn't want to?
Oh yeah, of course I did. But if you recall, I didn't think I could sing.
Let me ask you something. When you watched your friends sing karaoke, and one of them got up and was like, come see, come sa, kind of bad, kind of meh, kind of crazy, kind of loud, kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Did you still enjoy listening?
Yeah.
So
dang it. You got me. Yeah, you
I just
got
don't
me.
want people to miss out. I just don't want people to miss out.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I guess we're gonna have to go to karaoke again, Trey.
Ding, ding, ding. Get her out there. Get her out there. You know, I think just we're in this culture of American Idol and The Voice, and people have it in their head that those are the only people that should be taking up space and making noise. And I'm not trying to convince you or the drunk karaoke singer who just loves it out there that they should try and have a career in singing. Actually, quite the opposite. I'm saying you don't need to. It's like hard. It's a hard industry.
Sure.
Just let it be fun, but do it.
Yeah,
do
you're
it.
right.
It's
I would
so
tell
fun.
someone else to do it, so you're not wrong. You're
Good.
not wrong.
Get her out. Get her out, Trey.
The thought I had though regarding karaoke was Trey you would say something and remind me what that was. I think you'll remember about how you were trained differently than what some of the songs were. Like pop is hard for you is what I remember. Yeah. And so I guess I didn't bridge that gap in my mind. Like, why would that be hard for you? You have a great voice. That makes no sense. We sing stupid ditties in the store all day. So can you explain that?
Well, can I ask you, Trey, like, what is your training? Like, what's your story?
So I actually don't think I've ever talked about this on the podcast. So I have my master's in vocal performance.
I'm so not surprised. That's so cool.
So I started studying when I was about 17. I went to the university and I decided to study vocal performance because I didn't think, because I'm a lower voice singer, that I would do well in musical theater. So I thought the best thing for me to do would be to go into classical music and start performance track there. In 2018 is when things started to kind of fall a little down. And then 2019 is when the pandemic hit, and good old Panera that we all loved. And then got a nice cushy office job, and so kind of took a little bit of a hiatus.
So you were pursuing a career in music leading up to the pandy.
Yeah.
Wow. So wow, are you cool with what direction you chose?
I am, and I'm not.
He wasn't ready for this.
I was not ready for this. Of all the things I prepared for, I was not ready for this. I am, and I was not. There are so many things I love about what I do now, but I do miss being on stage, and I do miss singing. But there are things that I don't miss about singing classical music.
Really?
I have the personality for musical theater. I have the voice, sometimes for classical music.
I agree.
Sometimes those are not like well-meshed territories.
So in your mind, does theater and classical music feel like night and day to you? Because I often lump, the theater and classical music people are over there.
Yes. Classical music, every time I think about classical music is always that term chiaroscuro, and it's consistently like every tone is rounded, everything inside of my mouth.
What's the term? Periscudo?
Chiaroscuro. Italian
Chiaroscuro.
term.
Okay, we're back in Latin Italian zone. I don't even know. Okay.
Prosciutto.
It's Italian.
Yes. We're singing with prosciutto in our mouths. Yes. Yes, but I know what you mean.
Yes.
And the low larynx. Yes.
It's consistent, but then there's this love of musical theater where everything is like towards the front of your mouth and stuff is just coming out, and you're almost like a triple threat of things, and there's a different kind of energy that comes in musical theater.
Just great. I mean, even listen to your speaking voice, how thick, how rich, and again, I got to hear you sing backstage, and what you actually sang was more theatrical than anything, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It was.
Yes, you love theater. Yeah, great.
So there are many things about the theater industry that I don't miss, but
Yeah, it's
there are
awful.
also
Freaking awful.
there are things about it that I love. But I also have to be careful about the things that I say about the theater industry, because if I ever want to return to that, the comments that I'm making.
No, but I don't think anybody's going to get mad at you for saying the industry has, rough patches. Like the entertainment industry is notoriously I mean there's nepotism, and there's you kind of have to pay to play in the beginning, and there's it's super super competitive, and those things are just truths. It doesn't mean that we don't want to be a part of it and we don't want to play the game. It's just the reality of it's human. It's human. It's just human.
It is.
Yeah.
So, do I want to return to the stage? Absolutely, 100%. But doing what? I'm not sure, and that's to be determined.
Well, I think that if you were interested, and you haven't stated this, you have definitely not stated this, but if you did want to apply what you do to more pop, and when I use the term pop, I'm going to use the umbrella of basically not classical. If you wanted to apply your voice to that, I have a lot of faith, based on the small sample I heard, that not only would you be able to achieve it, but you would have a freaking blast doing it, and you would find it probably really cool to hear yourself making those small shifts. But even just realizing what they are would probably interest you greatly. Not like artistically you'd enjoy doing it, but you'd also be like, oh, that's so crazy that little thing makes, oh, like you'd probably have a really fun time with it.
Number one, don't call me out like that, but also, yes, that is 100% me.
Did you see how enthusiastically he was nodding?
Yeah, I mean, when you've been on stage and you've used your voice to move people, I don't know that you ever on your earthly journey will not want to do that thing again, because it's unlike anything else. It's a pleasure unlike anything else.
Okay, somebody clip that, please.
I'm already on it, don't worry. I mean, can you not agree?
No, I absolutely can agree.
Okay.
And I have actually been trying to do different things. I love jazz. I've been listening to an absolute metric ton of different pop things. Right now in my head, I have indie folk songs. I have Sarah Bareilles playing in my head. I have freaking Britney Spears in my head at the moment.
Love it. Well, I'm going to challenge you then. Not now. Well, I could, but I won't.
Dang it.
I want you to choose a phrase, and I particularly want you to choose a phrase from a male singer. Mm-hmm. And I want you to choose just one line, just one or two lines, and I want you to try and figure out how to sing it in a pop way, how to sing it like that singer. Record yourself, listen back, and I'm saying this to you, but I'm saying this to anybody listening to this. This is an exercise that I would do with my clients. I would walk them through it, or assign them just like I'm assigning you, and they will report back, and we'll laugh and cry and see where they got to. But this exercise, this ear exercise of trying to sort out what makes pop, what makes it cool and sound modern and hip, and what makes classical or theater sound, in kind, what makes, as you were saying, prosciutto cheese or whatever you said, what makes classical music feel like classical music, and what makes theater sound so buoyant. And what are the differences between those things? And your ear is obviously good. Again, I heard the sample, so I know that you have a wonderful ear, a wonderful voice, but particularly a wonderful ear, which means that you are capable absolutely of starting to sort through what the things are, what the gears are that you can shift personally to hear a different version of yourself, or rather yourself filtered through a different filter that might excite your artistry quite a lot. And to anybody listening, you can do this. This is a really, really fun exercise if you're not tortured about it, and you make it something fun and interesting. It's really wonderful.
That was awesome.
That is amazing.
I clipped that. Because now you're challenged.
This almost makes me want to do a TikTok series of learning how to sing pop. Come on this journey with me. Come on this journey with me.
I think that would be so effing cool to watch a singer who is committed to it. I had a singer who was in the opera in her state, and we laughed our faces off during her sessions. She was, like you, very skilled and very knowledgeable. She probably knew the prosciutto cheese terms as well. But we kind of used our combined knowledges to use the different verbiage to kind of speak the same language and get her to try these different sounds. And as a classical singer, usually, especially, I'd say probably more females, but they will fall. Yes, I love prosciutto too. Sorry, the comment section. Yes. So, classical singers will fall out of the pop placement in the higher section, right? They will say, in the shallow. They really struggle to maintain that yelly sound because it A, feels very different, B, sounds really loud and crazy, and C, they've probably been told several times that they're going to hurt themselves, break themselves, get singer's nodules, and their career will end. I'm being facetious mostly, but I do think classical singers are, they're taught in a more militant way. I don't think you did. Would you disagree? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no, I would 100% agree.
Yeah. So, when singers ask me, well, won't I hurt my voice if I do blah, blah, blah? And I always say, well, our voices are the only instrument made of flesh and blood. You're not going to hurt your tuba if you blow really hard. Right?
Right.
Can you impact your voice? Yes. Yes. If you do something really awful for a really long time and never sleep, can you hurt it long term? Yes. Mm-hmm. Can you even play a show and go a little too hard or a little too gritty or a little too belty and feel it tomorrow? Also, yes. Does that mean you shouldn't make the sound? I don't know. I think we have to be thoughtful about the fact that it's our body and it's the way we communicate, and we have to take care of our body. We eat well, we stay hydrated for a million different processes in our body, and we don't run for 6 hours and then wonder why our knee hurts. Right. We're like, oh yeah, I did that. So this is not permission for you to howl into the night, dangerously screaming on your voice, but this is permission to explore, to remember that it is something physical, it is something dear, and it is something you must treasure and care for. But do you think the NHL players are like, I shouldn't fight, it might be bad for my fist?
That's well said.
We push our bodies when we want to do extreme things. We will feel extreme things sometimes. So that doesn't mean wreck yourself. Don't quote me from this and say you now lost your voice and I said to do it. I'm telling you to be careful, but I'm telling you to be explorative, be thoughtful, but check out the edges. See what's over there. See how you can make it feel good. The first time you go to the gym, if you lift heavy or heavier than you ever have before, you'll feel it the next day. And then you'll lift careful or different or wear gloves because you got blisters, or I don't know, you'll make some modifications. So there is room for some trial and error. And I think that it's important, this distinction is important too. Screaming is different than yelling. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I think people will write me, well, I'm using my mixing and belting voice and I only have 6 minutes in me and it's gone. And I'm like, are you sure you're not screaming? And that's, yeah. So this is just a diatribe of try your body out. Think of the grade 6 kids in band. They said, into their clarinet for a couple months until it did cool things. So try your instrument, be careful, but try it out.
I love that advice. And I think that's advice for anyone that's starting out. So, Emily, yeah, I can't wait to hear your series on singing, appearing on our
My series on singing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that. That's actually not that bad of an idea. If I can
so-
gonzo, I can do that, right?
Do you do a Gonzo impression?
It's
It
not
is-
good.
It is. Oh, I love this so much.
Is it bad though? Trey,
No,
is it bad?
No, it's
it is
something
so
I hear.
good.
Do I know what Gonzo sounds like?
Gonzo from like Sesame Street
No, I
and the
know
Muppets. Okay.
who Gonzo is.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, you best show us now.
Okay, fine. Josh, do it. Okay. I don't know what give me something Gonzo would say. Oh, he has his chicken, Camilla,
Oh, yeah.
right? I'm gonna need some water first.
Oh my god. The drama. The trauma and the
No, it's
drama.
not even trying to be drama. It's not
The
it's not
build-up.
healthy, I'm sure. Gonzo!
Oh my god, that is what he sounds like.
Camilla, where are you? I did sing a whole song for my friend in that Gonzo voice once, and like I really felt it the next day because I was just playing around.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you, Emily, just demonstrated that you have a great ear and a great voice and a great connection between the two, too. I'm serious.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I'm dead serious. This playfulness that you just showed us, it should also serve as a really great example to people of what is possible when you are willing to be playful and explore.
Yes.
Great
that's true.
singers figure out what the things are that make them themselves, and they figure out these big belty notes and stuff because they were willing to just take up space. They weren't careful. So I have faith that you too could absolutely, go on your own journey.
I believe you. I do. We used to be very playful at the store together with singing and different things or humming, even as Trey said earlier. And I see how that leads to better things. And it is practice in its own way, too. Like,
Yeah,
so you can get better from play.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I have these dreams sometimes. It's like a recurring dream that I have at night where I'm in front of people singing and I'm really good. And then I wake up and I go, oh, yeah, that's right. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I could do that one day. So maybe I could one day. I have to get to that comfort level. I mean, like, how do you... That feels like a silly question because I think it's less about... there's some I can't say I have a lot of stage fright because I'm obviously like on a podcast and I've done things like that before, but it's feeling confident enough in my ability to be able to sing in front of someone else.
Yeah, you want to feel like you know what you're doing so that singing in front of people is fun.
Yeah, so at least I'm not completely crashing and burning.
Well, I don't think let's go there. Let's go there. Let's pick a little phrase and let's work it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Oh,
So let's just take a really simple little phrase. This is from a Taylor Swift song. Put your lips close to mine. Give me that.
oh boy. Can you do it again for me, please?
Yep, and the words are put your lips close to mine.
Okay.
Put your lips close to mine.
Put your lips close to mine.
So you should
Just
know
what?
that right out of the gate, I think people really discount how ahead of the game a singer like you is. People really take for granted having good pitch. I know that might sound silly to both of you, especially Trey. You've come from probably training with lots of great musicians around you, so we take for granted. I don't, because I hear all sorts of singers, and some people would give their left arm to do what you just did.
Okay.
Seriously.
Thank you for saying that.
Yep, seriously. Well, let's change the key.
I felt like I was sitting all wrong and everything.
Well, that's another thing that people always want to talk about. What should my posture be? How should I stand? How should blah 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 blah? And the answer is who cares?
Okay.
Seriously, the
All
answer
right.
is who cares? If you think about a theater production where a singer has to sit or stand or dance or jump off a thing, do you think they maintain the right posture the whole time? The whole
No.
idea is to be able to be in your body and be fluid and make good sounds, make sounds that feel good. Let's do that again. I've changed the key. Put your lips close to mine.
Put your lips close to mine.
Excellent pitch. Now here's something I want you to fix. Right now, you said, "Put your lips close to mine." Do you hear that
Oh,
R
yeah.
at the end of it? Well, no, you have no reason to have done it any differently. You don't. So this shouldn't be a, "Oh, I'm so dumb." That you said the word. You said the word as we would potentially in speech. But when we sing and when we sing pop music, we soften R's.
Okay.
We either get rid of them entirely. You can think about being British. Put your lips, put your lips, put your lips. There's no R there.
Okay.
Or you can think of simply doing a way less aggressive R. But let's start with taking it out.
Wow,
Let's
I didn't
go.
even think about that.
Let's say, put your lips, put your lips.
Put your lips.
Pro already.
Is that
So do you see, Trey, do you see already how much more authentic she sounded? How much more casual she sounded by just that?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Let's do the whole line. Put your lips close to mine.
Put your lips close to mine.
And now do you hear that even her tone is sweetening? Because we're tuning into her ear even more. And great work, Emily. Give
you.
me as long as they don't touch.
As long as they don't touch.
Yeah.
The end.
No.
Ugh.
Well, you did exactly what I did. I said touch.
Yeah.
And so did you. That's what I did. So singing doesn't always feel like, oh, sometimes it feels like, ah. That's what I said. The physical things we do to sound emotional, you emulated exactly what I did because you were willing to be playful. You were willing to go there. So I think you are highly, highly capable of having a journey of your own and finding all sorts of joy in the ear and the doing of it all.
Did you expect to come here today and do this?
I mean, I love when people want to make noise and I can show them what they're capable of doing. So sure. Yeah. I mean, and anytime I'm happy to help to hold up a mirror for someone and show them their musical self.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you though. Really, that was pretty cool. And the comments right now. I'm loving this. And Josh said this is fabulous in all caps. And Kaz said, so Emily, should we be expecting your debut? No concerts yet. I feel like I'm beat red, so.
Well, you did great. Being put on the spot, this is something that stresses people out to do, and it's just myself and them. So you've got peers here, you've got people listening and watching. So I give you a big, big kudos. But that should be, I hope this is a moment you can tap back into and remember that you did this. So there's not much else you can't do with your voice because already you were this naked. So there's no reason to not keep looking, keep exploring.
You're right. Yeah, and it's part of it's because it was you, because there was no way I was going to tell you no. So thank you for being that for me.
Oh yeah. Thanks for going there. It's good to see what's possible.
Is there anything about the creative process? Because you've written songs, right? And I've heard some of them and listened. I listen to your music on Spotify and stuff too. And is there anything about that creative process that what is the part you get the most excited about? Like, is it releasing it to the public? Is it the reactions you get, or like, is it while you're writing? Do you?
When I was younger, being a singer-songwriter was the thing I wanted. And then, unless you have a lot of money behind you, releasing a song is always this horribly anticlimactic process.
Is it?
It really is. Because by the time the song comes out, you've written it, you've said all the things, you've gone in the studio, you tweaked it, you turned down the back vocal and up the thing and put a harp and hired a violin player. Like, oh my God, and here it is, and you're as happy as you could possibly be with it. And you're going to put it out into the world and 14 people hear it. And that is the reality of being an indie artist. as my social media gained traction, I didn't have a lot of hope. Secretly, I might have tried to have hope, but I hoped that it would put more ears on my work. And it probably has, more than if I didn't have a presence on social media. But, there's so much great music out there that if people actually heard it, it could be, would be, should be, whatever you want to say, just as popular as some of the other things we hear. If our music finds the audience that it's supposed to find, sparks will fly. But finding that audience is really hard. So the other bittersweet pill of my journey, people know me now as a coach, and I've spent 20 plus years being an artist. So
Right.
the comment section will say things like, you're actually a pretty good singer. You might want to give that a try. Because they think I'm a coach.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it is coming from a place of, I'm sure, nothing but innocence and encouragement, but it a little crushes my soul every time that I read those comments. I'm like, yeah, it turns out I am already a singer. And it is not a coincidence that I am able to coach and demonstrate. I, of course, use my abilities as an artist as well. And it always reminds me how much people don't know me as an artist. But
Yeah,
but that's
what a thing to say without having done any homework at all.
yeah, but the comment section isn't a place for homework. People
True.
just speak
You're right.
freely.
Yeah.
Just personally, it's one of those things, when I play a really fun show, a really fun event, or a really fun concert, and then I come back and the next day it's my job to help other people prepare for their concerts and feel really good in their bodies. And it's a really big gear shift, something that I really have to manage the highs and lows of. And I love coaching. I hope that's clear. I think that's clear.
Oh, yeah.
It's a real passion of mine for a million different reasons. But as I was saying to you, Trey, once you've stood on stage and felt those feelings, there is nothing that is that. So while I am always honored to walk with people on their journey, it's a completely different world than being on my journey. So it's big, big gear shifts. Big gear shifts.
Do you have any dream projects in your singing part of your career that you would love to have happen?
I think that most singers just want to do their art for more people. I personally love being on stage. Generally, people prefer, to a large degree or maybe a smaller degree, but they have a preference between stage, like being performing live on stage, or being in studio and creating the songs and bringing songs to life behind a mic. I love stage. I could do without the studio stuff. I do it because you got to do it to get the song in the first place, to have a song for people to hear. But I love being on stage. So my goals are always around being in rooms of rapt listeners. I play corporate events, which I quite enjoy. I really genuinely enjoy them. And I have found myself working with event planners that are really, really good at their job and are able to position me in a very flattering light where I get to do the things I do best. But that's not the same as a concert. Sometimes it is, actually. Some corporate events are really cool. But the point simply is you want people to listen to you because they like what you're doing, not because they happened to be in a room where you were making noise.
Right.
So yeah, playing in theaters where the sound is wonderful and the piano is a beautiful Yamaha baby grand is my favorite place to be. And it's hard to balance the business, the commerce, the art, all the things, because I really love coaching and I'm getting into more public speaking and group masterclassy things. It's all fun, but everything takes time.
Yeah.
So the more time I'm not making art, the less art that gets made, I guess I should say. So luckily I love it all, but I really do love performing. So I hope to make a little bit more space for that in the coming years.
Yeah, I hope you get to as well.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Trey, you're muted.
I would be.
I was like, wait, is he talking?
Very polite.
I really hope that you're able to tour in the States soon, so that we can get to appreciate that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because I would happily buy front row seats to your concert, and like I would be screaming, "Go Rozette! Yeah!"
I believe you because you are a fan of music, but I'm grateful that you would come to little old my show. And I would love to. I would love to play in the States. One thing a lot of Americans don't know is how difficult it is for a Canadian to play music in the States. There is
Really?
crazy, crazy, crazy red tape. I remember playing a showcase in New York. Oh, this was so many, probably nearly a decade ago. And I booked, yeah, actually over a decade. But I remember booking some university shows, New Jersey, perhaps Louisiana. And I had a whole year to secure visas. And these shows were really exciting and really special, especially way back then, because I didn't have to sell tickets. They
yeah.
fly me down, they put me in a hotel, they sell all the tickets. I just show up and I play my show. Amazing for an artist, an indie artist. And thousands of dollars spent on a lawyer later, and 365 calendar days later, and I just lit candles and cried in my apartment. It's very, very, very hard to convince them. Yeah, the way it's viewed is you have to prove that you have an exceptional or extraordinary ability that no one else in the United States has, which of course is simply impossibly it's untrue. There's many, many great singers, of course, there, but
Wait,
yeah.
that's like U.S. law for visa, or is that Canadian?
Correct. Yeah,
What?
it's on the U.S. side. Yeah, the
So
U.S. is really hard.
How did Justin Bieber do it then? Like, how did anybody else from Canada? Like, I feel like as an American, I'm horrified by that, but also like we've seen it happen. So
Yeah, well, labels and teams and support and money and the things. It's possible. It's possible even for someone like me, but it would require someone stateside or someone's stateside to be championing what I'm doing and pulling strings on that side. There could be people listening to this right now rolling their eyes and saying, "Oh, it's not that hard." But what I described to you really did happen.
yeah,
So, yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, how long ago was that? More than 10 years?
Yeah, it would have been more than 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. But it's only harder now.
I was wondering if it's changed much.
Yeah, it's only harder now. But it's possible, like I say, but it's kind of one of those crazy vicious circles. You kind of got to go there to get someone over there to even be in love with the thing you're doing. But luckily, the internet is interneting and TikTok is TikToking. As I said, though, a lot of my hours are spent in coaching on my coaching business. So I don't spend as much time in my trying to sell my wares to people business. But it's possible. And I think I'm a good artist. I think I have potential to be a really great artist.
Absolutely.
But thank you. But I think that it just is time and money. Time and money. So I will keep shining my light in that direction while I continue to walk aside other singers on their journey too. Yeah, I will continue.
I think in the meantime, Trey and I will just start the Modern Romantic record label and go to bat for people like you, because holy cow, that seems so absurd. And then that's actually Kaz's idea in the chat. She said, Trey, what I'm hearing is, Trey, you need to make a record label so we can get Jenn here.
That is exactly what I'm hearing too. Exactly what I'm hearing too.
Good job, Trey.
Thank you. This is a beautiful new business venture. I can't wait to have my business plan to the local bank to get a loan to start. I don't know.
Ooh, it's a sketchy business. You better have a good plan on paper. Ooh.
We'll work on it. We will workshop
Maybe
it.
we need. Maybe after we get. I guess it's already news, so it's fine. After we get Zachary James on the show, we'll have some more connections and we can see what we can.
What does he do?
So he is an opera singer, musical theater performer. He does concerts. He's done television, a movie he was in recently. So he's done a more on the theatrical side of things.
But like a quintuple threat, basically, all the things.
Yeah, he didn't.
All the things.
Trey brought up something that this is someone who's kind of a phenomenal in the sense that they didn't shy away from the other things, like opera singers don't go on Broadway and vice versa. So that was one thing. But anyway, I just thought maybe we'll have, by the time this happens, we'll have more connections is what I was thinking.
Yes.
And Josh said, I foresee a hashtag Sparks Will Fly tour.
Yeah, I hope I don't sound like a, pouty poo. I'm not trying to be a pouty poo.
No,
It's just
Reality.
challenging. That's kind of what I was trying to say to you, Trey, when you were like, I miss things, but also there's things I don't miss, but I don't want to say anything that might offend anybody. Yeah, like the things I'm speaking right now are kind of ugly, but it is my experience, and it is just what it is. It's just what it is. So there's no reason why I can't point my arrow in the right direction and keep moving towards it. It just has some red tapey stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think speaking the truth, and the more that we talk about it, there's a larger conversation to be had about the difficult, ugly side of the music industry from multiple different fronts.
Yeah.
So I think talking about it, much like therapy, will help the conversation at large quite a bit. But I really honestly thank you for being this honest, and for making us incredibly aware of these types of situations. Because there are many people who would, like myself, hide behind, I don't really want to say anything, or I don't want to offend anybody, and just leave the conversation and not try to progress it.
I mean, it's hard to say. Like, you're right. We should progress it, but it's funny as it comes out of my mouth. I'm like, this is dirt. This is ugly. Oh God, how do I always go down these funny roads? But it would be nice to, if people were more aware of it, maybe things could shift. I don't know, because people are constantly messaging me like, come down and play in the States, and I'm always like, I'd love to.
Well, yeah, because for the most of us, it sounds like you just need to book a hotel and a stage somewhere. Like, nobody thinks about that there might be more to it. And
oh man, if it was that, I'd be there all the damn time. Seriously, all the damn time.
All right. Well, we're going to have to look into this. Also, I appreciate you telling us the reality of it, because whether or not it sounds like dirt, it's reality, and knowing about it is what changes things. So
yeah, and in some ways too, I think when people are like, why did you stay in Calgary? Like, why did you stay in Canada? You really could have really made, if you would have went to Nashville, if you would have went to LA, if you would have went to New York. And those are places that I've been, and I've met great people, and I've made, great noise with great other noisy people in those cities. But it's not the same. Yeah. You can't really do the thing.
Yeah.
You can't really do the thing. And moving, that's the other thing, moving. So if you think it's hard to go play a show, God help you if you want to move there. If you how people get around it is school. If you want to go take music school. But let me tell you, I just don't want to.
Or if you married an American, that would be the other way.
I was gonna say, if anybody is listening that is like 6 feet-ish with a lovely Southern accent of some sort, potentially, that thinks they need a little blonde, noisy person in their life, call me.
My boyfriend is watching this podcast right now.
I know. Well, I mean, you can see how red I am.
You think I should marry Trey?
No, you basically just described him.
Well, I guess you can have a chat with your husband. We can always see what's possible, but
Kaz says she knows someone. Well, you never know who's going to listen to this episode. You never know who's out there right now hearing this. We're going to get some emails.
Sorry,
maybe.
Jen, I got him first. Is that your husband?
That is my boyfriend, yes.
Yay! You know what? You're so lucky, Blurgha.
Aw.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, sorry, that's not what it says. How do I say it?
Blugga. Blugga.
Well,
Blugga?
I think Trey is not only incredibly well spoken, but I feel the art in him, and I understand why these two had the idea for this podcast, because I can tell that both of them care very much and are very excited about the big picture, the micro and the macro of the arts in general. So thank you for shining a light on the fun stuff. Thank you for making space for artists to talk about their art and the pretty stuff and the yucky stuff. So you are lucky. Luck, he says, luck is his specialty. Well, shine some my way.
Considering what is upcoming for you, what is next on your plate as an artist?
Well, I have a couple songs that have been ready to come out for some time, but
Cool.
I'm excited to put them out. I'm hoping to work with some new writing teams and to, like I say, I really want to push more to be on stage more. That's the main thing. And create more offerings. I'm working on some newer offerings for singers and career singers to joy singers and everyone in between. I'm working on finding ways to connect with them all the time.
If someone could come to you and just offer you, I want you to do world tour, et cetera, and they wanted to duet with you, what artist would you want to duet on your tour with?
Ooh.
Oh man, who do you want to hear me with?
This is your question. You need to answer this.
I don't know. This is evil. You can't ask a musician this. There's so many great pop singers. And I love John Mayer. I don't know. That's such a weird response, I suppose. I love Beyonce, but I even love. Do you know Eva Cassidy?
I've heard the name. Yeah.
Not well.
She died. I think she was either 36 or 38, but she was a singer who you would recognize if you heard. She did interpretations of Fields of Gold, Somewhere of the Rainbow, Autumn Leaves, really, really, really beautiful renditions of these songs. But she died before she blew up. Her songs kind of blew up in her absence, but she is one of the best vocalists and interpreters of music I can think of. I mean, obviously she's gone now, but she's a singer I really admire. I don't know, like everyone? Bruno Mars?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone is a valid answer.
Michael Jackson would have been like really fun. Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Yeah. Lots. Bette Midler would be fun too.
Oh yeah.
That would be.
Kaz just said Kesha.
Kesha. I never really thought of Kesha much as a vocalist until that record where she sang that very, very sad song about how her struggles in the industry. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that she was another one of those singers who was kind of put in a box.
Yeah.
So she, in fact, is quite a lovely singer. But I don't know her material well, so I'm not going to weigh in with Kesha. But I think she's a lovely singer.
Well, we'll work on the hashtag stars. What is it? Stars will
Sparks will fly tour. Yeah.
Tour with everyone.
Yes, just everyone, please.
Just everyone.
Yeah.
You have given so much advice for this podcast, not only for me, but also for Emily. Emily, I will follow up on your progress. And for
Thanks.
and you give a lot of advice for people out there whether they're just starting out or in the industry. What I want to ask you is, what is something that you tell to your current students that you wish someone had told you when you were first starting out?
That's good. I like that question.
Oh, I could take that in a lot of directions, but I'm going to choose to take it particularly vocally. And that is, do it all. Try it all. Put on every hat that makes your heart flutter. Try and emulate every singer that you think is interesting. And do not be attached to whether it's accurate, but whether it's interesting.
Love that.
Yeah, I think we're often too careful. So try all the things.
That is a beautiful response. Yeah.
Well, thanks for some evil, but lots of great questions. And mostly, yeah. Thanks for a great conversation. You two are such lovely and respectful curators of these kind of conversations. I'm really glad to have been here with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. We love that feedback. That means a lot to us.
Yeah, well, I mean, not everybody knows how I don't want to say knows how to talk to an artist, but knows what matters or is willing to kind of poke good bears, poke the bears,
Right.
poke the interesting bears. And I feel, some conversations, I feel very respected. I feel very respected in my art. So thank you.
Good. I'm happy for that. Go ahead, Trey. I'm sorry.
As we kind of close out the episode here, we want to make sure that that our listening audience is also able to connect with you. So where are some of the places that you are most active? Where would you prefer people to interact with you?
Instagram is where you should go if you want some day-to-day stuff. All my reels are on Instagram, but I'll also yell at you from my backyard semi-frequently if you find me on Instagram, which is I am Rozette, Rozette. So I've gone by Jenn Beaupre for the majority of my career, but I worked with a music business coach right the month before the Pandy who suggested a name change. And then Pandy pandied, and I didn't really get to go out on stage and get to do the thing. So I'm sure my branding is a bit of a catastrophe right now because on Facebook, I'm Jenn Beaupre. On TikTok, I'm Rozette Sangs with 3 A's.
Yep.
On Instagram, I am Rozette. On YouTube, I'm also Rozette Sangs. On my website, I'm jennbeaupre.com. Oh God, I'm embarrassed to even admit these things. It's just so hard to know what strings to tug. But so again, I that's the millionth time I didn't answer your question. But if you want, to have more sort of behind the scenesy things along with the bulk of what I'm doing, Instagram would be a place to go. TikTok is great too. I have in the past, and I'm going to probably start doing more lives over on TikTok. That's where I have the biggest following over on TikTok. So I need to give some love over there. YouTube, there is some long form content. If you're wanting to kind of feel what it feels like to get coaching from me, you can head over to YouTube and find some longer form sessions, which I'll continue to add through the year.
Plus your stage stuff is on there too.
Yeah. And Spotify and all those places, Rozette, Rozette. And then I don't usually say this, but if you want to hear my earlier material, that's under Jenn Beaupre. And there's some material I'm really proud of there too.
Well, please go listen. Please go support both Rozette and Jenn Beaupre on iTunes or wherever you listen to or acquire. Please do it legally so that we can support this lovely individual, please. But as we close out this episode here, Jenn, Rozette, I thank you so much for being on. We love having you on the podcast here, and we would love to have you back if you would have us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for calling me by all 12 of my names, and this has been a blast. Thank you both.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
This episode, along with probably every other episode, is always in memory of Joe Capone, our moderator, fellow comedian, passionate encourager, and greatly missed friend. Find us pretty much wherever you tune into podcasts. For updates, announcements, and more, please follow us on social media under Modern Romantic, and please help us make our subscriber goals. Thank you, everybody, and have a beautiful day.
Bye.
And I'll be coming on tour to a city near you.
Yeah, you will.